Okay, so welcome to the Summon Your Soulmate Masterclass. I'm so excited you're here. My name is Erica Wright. I am a relationship coach and human connection specialist, and I will be your guide today as we go through this. And so before we get started, I want to just invite you to set an intention for yourself of how you want to feel, something you want to learn, whatever that may be. My intention for today is that just by being here, just by listening, and tuning in, that your frequency changes, that you leave today feeling clear, having learned something maybe about yourself, having an aha moment. And really like my higher intention is that we just like raise that frequency of love in each of us and in the world, of course. And so let's just go ahead and get started. Just going to share my screen. Okay. All right, play slideshow. Let's see if this works. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Lovely, lovely technology. Okay, so share this. And all right, so you should be able to see my screen theoretically. And all right, so welcome to Summon Your Soulmate, and let's go ahead and get started. So this class is a masterclass designed to bring you home to yourself. So you are in the right place if you want to learn how to attract and maintain the kind of love and soul-fulfilling, emotionally connected, passionate, conscious relationship. Maybe you're already in a relationship and you just want to take it to a deeper level of connection, understanding, vulnerability, intimacy, and soulmateness. um, Perhaps you want to create a deeper sense of self-awareness or relational awareness within yourself. You want to bring a higher level of acceptance, compassion, grace, inner peace, and love into your life. The only problem is maybe you have a pattern of attracting unavailable or unavoidant, even toxic partners who leave you hanging and feeling unprioritized. And maybe they're bad communicators. I definitely had a history of that. Especially when it comes to talking about the hard stuff, like maybe it's all fun and light, but then when it comes to the real stuff, the types of people you date kind of like shy away from that. They don't really want to talk about the real stuff. Or maybe you have a pattern of abandoning yourself or losing yourself in relationships. Like you tend to people please, put others' needs before your own. Or you stay too long in relationships that you know aren't right for you. And you're like, why? Like I can tell I'm pretty sure this isn't it, but like, why do I keep hanging around or coming back? Or perhaps you always have this lingering feeling of I'm not enough or I'm too much in relationships. Or there's a history of dating cheaters, abusers, narcissistic people, or people with toxic behaviors. Or maybe you attract people who are kind of like a project. Like you need to believe in them and tend to them because they're not like believing in themselves. Or maybe when you feel single, you're like confident, everything seems good. But then as soon as you get into a relationship, you notice some funky things happening. You're like, wait, who am I? Why am I feeling insecure or anxious? Or you've been ghosted and left feeling like a lack of closure and wondering, what is wrong with me? Was there something that I could have done better? And you're feeling confused or sad, hurt, insecure. Um, or there's so many scenarios, right? Like we say we want love, and beautiful partnership, and we come up against these problems, right? Maybe you feel like you have so much love to give, and all you want to do is have somebody to love and to share that love with, but you feel like nobody ever chooses you. Or maybe you're single and ready to mingle, but the thought of dating sounds exhausting, and dating apps aren't really your thing. Maybe you're actively dating, but nobody seems interesting. Or you're currently in a relationship or dating someone, but right now it's feeling frustrating or confusing or exhausting or depleting. Maybe you have thoughts like of, should I leave? Like, is this the relationship for me? But you're just kind of not sure what to do. It's like one part of you is, one foot in, one foot out. And yeah, you're just kind of afraid to make a decision that you would regret. Like you don't want to like leave if maybe this is right, maybe there is something here. Or maybe you've already met your soulmate and you just like my vibe, and this just seemed like a good way to deepen your self-awareness when it comes to relationships and love. For any of you that resonate with any of this, this class is going to be useful for you. So if you don't know me, my name is Erica Wright. I'm a former people-pleasing, anxiously attached, codependent, self-abandoning, boundaryless, afraid to be sensitive, emotionally unavailable, desperate to be chosen, please sweep me off my feet, helpless romantic who did not know her worth. And fast forward 10 years later, I'm a relationship coach and human connection specialist and expert in helping my clients create the kind of loving relationships that they want. First with themselves, that's the key. And then, of course, with others. I am literally obsessed with human behavior and relationships. My boyfriend will tell you that on a Friday night at like 9 p.m., I'll be like pumping, relationship related things, stuff on the subconscious mind. Like literally last Friday, I was listening to replaying couples therapy and coaching sessions, like studying, observing, like always trying to get better at helping my clients solve their problems faster. He's like, Erica, like most people wouldn't touch couples coaching with like a 10-foot pole, and you're literally like mainlining it into your system on a Friday night. Like, who are you? You're obsessed. But this is like my dharma. This is what I am obsessed with. This is the work that I love to do in the world. Yeah, I've worked with hundreds of individuals and couples all around the world internationally. It's pretty cool. I help people understand their emotions and triggers so they can amplify calm, peace, pleasure, and turn off anxiety, insecurity, shame, and self-doubt. And I always tell, people that are curious about working with me is like, really like what I do is we take like this understanding up here in the like logical level and we bring it down into the body. So you might like logically get this concept of enoughness or like, yeah, I like deserve love. But if you don't feel it in your body, then the job isn't complete. It's like I want you like moving through life, like embodying this, feeling this. And I also help people connect to their intuition by guiding them, again, down into their body and out of their head. And really, at the end of the day, I help people feel better by guiding them home to themselves. And so recently I received some client love that I just wanted to share with you. So this person wrote, Erica, you have completely changed the way that I feel about myself. I used to feel so anxious and insecure in my life and at work and in relationships, and now I'm freaking thriving. You helped me leave a relationship that I knew wasn't for me, but I just couldn't seem to leave. And now I know why. It was my unconscious mind keeping me stuck there. Thank you for teaching me how to be with and regulate all of my big feels. I'm now dating an amazing man who reminds me how amazing I am each day. And more importantly, my self-talk is so much more kind, loving, and compassionate. Thank you so much for holding such beautiful space for me to heal. So this is just an example of what's possible. It's, I always say that like when I start working with somebody, it doesn't matter what phase of relationship you're in, if you're like single and dating, if you're in a relationship, if you're thinking about leaving one, maybe you just left one and you're heartbroken. Either way, we're going to create connection with yourself and the person you're with, or you're going to get clarity that maybe it's out of alignment and then there's somebody else for you. So before we get started, I want you to know that there's this myth of what we call the one. And it's kind of interesting, right? Because this class is called Summon Your Soulmate. And so it like seems like there's all this focus on outward, on this person we want to attract and this like love we want to bring into our life. And yes, that is definitely something that we want to do. And like I want to like bring this focus always back to self. So this one, right? Like I have to address this because it's something that gets thrown around and talked about. But like the impact of it isn't always recognized. Like the harmful impact isn't always recognized, right? So this myth of the one is made up by our society. And this context for relationships and love that has been ingrained in us, it can be harmful when we start to date and when we're in relationship and when we're thinking about, is this person right for me? Actually, should I leave? So I want to speak to it. And the way that people talk about the one has conditioned us to think that we need someone who will save us, someone who will complete us so we can finally feel whole and complete. We are conditioned to think that the one will be the person who will finally love us the way that mom and dad loved us, or maybe the way that mom and dad were never capable of loving us. We're brainwashed to think that this one person, right, is gonna like see through all of our layers and just like love us no matter what, and they'll never leave us. And you hear people saying, and like even sometimes joking about, like, you complete me, right? Or like my better half, or whatever it is. And even though like at a conscious level, you might be like, yeah, this is silly, right? But at a subconscious level, most of us are still believing that we really do need someone to complete us. That is why we can get so obsessed with needing to find somebody, needing to find somebody. And it just isn't true. And so why does the myth of the one exist? Well, the reason why we are seduced into the concept of the one or even a soulmate is because everyone's unconscious, our unconscious mind, seeks what's called oneness. And all of us suffer greatly when our minds trick us into thinking that we are separate. We suffer when we are disconnected from ourselves, from others, from truth, from source. That's when we start to feel fragmented and broken. And our unconscious is always seeking to feel, of course, like at one with ourselves, at one with nature. This is what oneness is. If you have a spiritual practice, this concept isn't new. But like this feeling of oneness, right? That like this truth that like we are all energy and it's all connected, right? We want to feel at one with our surroundings, with a higher power. We want to feel at one with a community who gets us, who understands us, who we feel safe with. And of course, we want to feel at one with another person. Therefore, we seek this, we want this oneness so that we don't feel the pain of the ego's illusion of separateness. So this concept of the one that society has created, right, out of this desire to feel and to like be, connected to all, be in this oneness, right? So like the one is sort of like when we're thinking about it as a person, right? Like the one is a physical representation of that pure love, of that oneness that we're always seeking. The one is someone who we believe we will experience oneness and wholeness with, right? Like that's that you will complete me thing. We get obsessed with it and it's all an illusion. It's not true. Don't fall for this myth, right? So we think that if we are with the right person, if we finally can find the one, then we will, experience that oneness, that feeling that you can feel when you're walking through nature, or when you sit and meditate, or when you're doing your morning routine, you're chanting, you're singing, you're drumming, or maybe you're at like a concert or a festival and you're just like lost in the presence of the music and the beat, and you're in your body, right? Like, or some people can get like in flow state doing art, right? It's like those blissful moments that you feel alive, that you like get it. You're like, you feel so connected. You know that everything is okay. That is like that experience of oneness. That is what we get lost in trying to find through this concept of the one. And the biggest delusion happens in this falling in love stage, where you are actually experiencing being one with that other person. And of course, there's like all these falling in love chemicals, oxytocin, the dopamine hits, right? But on top of it, it's like ego kind of falls aside, and who you're being and who the other person is being, like you're kind of experiencing that oneness and that falling in love stage. And the big delusion here is that we think that it's the other person who is giving us all that blissed out feeling, that that oneness, that like falling in loveness, right? That feeling we feel, we think it's them, right? When really it's you it's who you are being, it's who you are, it's everything that's within you. Like all those feelings and sensations you experience in the falling in love stage is just a sample and a reminder of what is already within you. Like you're getting an experience of yourself. You're tapping into oneness. You think it's them, but it's just you, right? So all of those feelings you feel in that stage are simply a reminder of what's been within you all along. And it's a reminder of the feelings you are capable of feeling with or without someone. You don't need that other person to activate that sense of oneness and wholeness and completeness. So we can get all, needy and desperate in relationships, and even stay too long in relationships that have expired, because we are under this disillusionment that the person you are with is the one who holds the key to unlocking your heart. But all along, it's been you. It's been within you, right? So that's that. And really, like, I know it might sound cheesy, but you are the one. And I do believe that we have many soulmates. There's not just like one person out there. There's like not just like one person who can be your soulmate. Um, Even relationships where it was more of like a karmic relationship, where there was like a lot of uh, uh conflict and like energy to it. Like even that I view as like there was clearly some sort of deep soul connection there, where there were lessons that needed to be learned, where maybe you were like waking up to the truth of yourself. And well, how do we wake up? Well, usually through pain. So really, like, there's I think that we have different soulmates at different times, depending on where we are in our healing and spiritual awakening journey. And I believe a soulmate, yeah, is like somebody who we have a deep soul connection to. But it's also somebody who maybe is like reflecting back to you your false beliefs about yourself. Right? Those can be like the more painful relationships, where it's like you never feel enough. You never feel like you can get it right. You're trying so hard, right? And it's like this person, no matter what you do, like you don't feel enough, right? And so it's like even that person has been placed there on your journey. Well, again, so that you can awaken to this false belief within yourself that you're not enough, or that you're not deserving of love, or whatever it may be, right? So like this idea of a soulmate too can like sound so like magic and like out there, and like how do we get it or whatever. Like a soulmate can also just be somebody who is willing to take care of their side of the street, who is willing and committed to growing and transforming for themselves, looking at their patterns, their triggers, their belief systems, somebody who is there by your side, in the relationship, not necessarily even like growing and transforming at the same speed that you are. We can, also get into like a disillusionment around that like, oh, well, if they're not growing at the same speed that I am, then maybe we're not meant to be. And it's just, none of it's true. Okay. So that being said, this class is not about how to change or fix yourself so that you can finally be loved. And what it really is all about is releasing the old conditioning, the old conditioned message that comes with this myth of the one, right? Like this message is that somehow you're incomplete without another. So when we release this, this frees you up to connect with somebody at a deeply fulfilling soul level. This is about becoming more of yourself, not trying to win someone's love by becoming someone you are not. This is about reclaiming the parts of yourself that you may have shunned or lost due to societal conditioning or shaming. This is all about choosing yourself. Like I remember like so many of my clients and myself, like, oh, I just want to be chosen. I want to feel like somebody like really chooses me, right? And we're longing for that feeling of being chosen. And the secret is that you can offer that to yourself. You can choose yourself. And in doing that, it opens you up to so many different love possibilities. So this is also about teaching you how to choose partners from your worth, not your wounds. And it's becoming the one for yourself. Okay, so I want you to know what's possible. And this is this is me and my boyfriend Langley and our dog Bryce. And we're a little bit sleepy-eyed because we just finished our morning breathwork session. And really like when I was thinking about making this class or what I was going to do, next, I really wanted to give people an experience of what it's like to work with me. And like I make so many, short form things on TikTok and Instagram, but I just like have so much more up my sleeve for you. And so that's my intention, is like creating something a little bit more in depth so you can get to experience and relate to me at a little bit of a deeper level. And that's also why I made this class. It's going to be 2 parts, 2 days. So it's today and then also next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. That is where we're going to do like more like experiential, deep, subconscious, transformational work. And so, and then we're also going to do live coaching and Q&A and hot seats on that day. Cause like, I want to engage with you. I want you to feel me and feel my love. And I want to feel you and your heart and your love. And, so yeah, you probably know why you're here today. You have your reasons and your curiosities. But yeah, why I'm here today is because I'm obsessed with expanding realms of possibility for myself and for others. And I just like I didn't know, like I used to feel so lost. Like I didn't know who I was, or like what is my purpose, and what is this whole life thing all about? Like I felt lost in relationships. I felt lost on like what was really going to truly bring me joy and peace in my life. And so like I've been on this freaking journey with myself, and I just like I want to share it with whoever is curious and willing to listen, whoever is kind of seeking the same thing, like answers and clarity and connection to self, connection to others. And so everything that I'm going to share with you today is something that I've personally been through or experienced. Um, and yeah, like I just wanted to share a little bit more about my journey on my way to this like fucking beautiful, out of this world, like loving partnership that I've been able to create with Langley, with my partner. Like, and it definitely takes two. This is not just a Erica knows all the things about relationships. Like, he is a very active participant in creating what we've created. Okay, so, all right, just a quick overview. Today, we're going to be going over relationship patterns, looking at, what's been going on for you, where it came from, and also if you don't like what has been going on, looking at how to create new patterns that allow you to feel whole and complete on your own. And then if you want to, like, either deepen the soul connection with your current partner or manifest a new relationship, great, we're going to do that too. I will also share some of the exact steps and practices and identity shifts that I took to heal my past patterns, connect with my true authentic self, follow my heart and intuition, and attract absolutely amazing relationship. And then on day 2, which is Tuesday the 26th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's where we're going to be doing the experiential guided visualization that's really designed to raise your soulmate attracting vibration, heal old patterns of love, and really like create this deep sense of connection to yourself, acceptance of you and yourself and like all the parts of you. And at the end of both days, I'm going to be sharing about my private one-on-one coaching program for those of you who feel called to take this journey to an even deeper level and have my undivided attention and support with you over the next 4 months. Okay, so just a quick snapshot. How I just want to like share a little bit, like me pre-personal growth, healing, spiritual awakening journey. Like I spent most of my younger years single. Like I was always third wheeling. I was always kind of like the outsider looking in. Like so many of my friends were like, even like, whatever, elementary school or middle school, relationships like that. I did not do any of that. I was so scared. I don't know, it wasn't for me, even though I wanted it, but I was too scared. And like I would say that my attention was like more so focused outward. Like so much of my attention was focused on like comparing myself to others or attention on boys and like what needs to happen out here. I wasn't really connected to myself. I didn't realize it, but I was carrying a lot of fear, insecurity, anxiety, and shame in my body, which manifested as an eating disorder and binge drinking in my younger years. That like all the internal discomfort and like avoidance, like it just didn't feel safe to be in my body. And so both like the way that I ate and the way that I drank was kind of like this beautiful numbing mechanism that my younger self learned to do, right? And then of course later the pain of that really is what like led me into my healing journey. I like totally thought that I needed to be prettier or skinnier. Like I thought like I needed to just change like who I was and how I looked to be able to like attract a partner that I wanted. Like I didn't think I was good enough in so many ways. I attracted guys who were avoidant, emotionally unavailable, distant, kind of like hot and cold. They'd go from like giving me a bunch of attention to just like complete distancing. Sometimes I would attract like projects who needed my help, bad communicators. I felt really confused. I did a lot of guessing and like trying to mind read like what's going on with them over there. I definitely was not a good communicator. I was also really defensive because I had like so much shame. Like it wasn't okay for me to make mistakes growing up. Like that was not okay, right? And so yeah, I spent a lot of time like avoiding making mistakes, thinking that like, oh, if I make a mistake, then love will certainly be withdrawn from me. I'll be rejected. I yeah, like I would kind of like lose myself. I'd be really anxious, insecure, like obsessive thinking, you name it, I was doing it. So me now, I literally like pinch myself every day because I never knew that this kind of love was possible. Like this kind of intentional, conscious relationship. And like looking back at all the work that I did on myself and figuring this all out, it's just like, it's so worth it. And I'll just tell you a quick story. Like the other night, Langley and I were lying on the floor, as we do, cuddling and just looking into each other's eyes and just like enjoying each other's company, just like not even no talking, just like physically being with each other. And he like looks over at me, looks into my eyes, and he's just like, oh, like what a dream. And like we both are just like, wow, like where did you come from? Like this is so amazing. Like sometimes we'll also say like, this is it, we're doing it. Like this is it. Like this is the thing that like everyone wants. And like, look at us, we're creating it. It's like so magical. It's so beautiful. But I want you to know, like, it didn't just happen. It's like very intentionally created. And I'll share more about what this looks like. You'll kind of I'll share how, like, kind of my how, as we go, through this presentation. So like, this is what you're here for. Like, what works? What actually changed things for me? Like, how did I go from just like desperate, hopeless romantic who couldn't friggin' figure anything out, like such low self-worth and insecurity, to like where I am now in relationship? Like really, truly, this level of groundedness and safety and security. And some people might call it confidence, but it came through like really, truly, like loving and accepting myself. It came through self-compassion. It came through um, like exploring the parts of myself that I had like hidden away or pushed down or was embarrassed by, or maybe felt shame about, especially like being sensitive or vulnerable emotionally. Like it came from like bringing those parts of me online and offering them the acceptance and love that they needed. Okay, so what made the biggest difference for me? So this first thing that I want to dive into is I named my unconscious relationship patterns and realized that I was the common denominator of all my past relationships. And that really hit me hard because I spent a lot of time like being like, what is up with these guys? Like, geez, they're like this and they're like that. And like, what's their problem? Like, why don't they communicate with me? And why can't, I'm so confused. Like, I'm like, I really like, I also, I had either definitely like insecurity and low self-worth, but I also had a part of me that was kind of like, wait, like I'm kind of awesome. Like, why doesn't this person want me? Like, I don't understand, right? So there's lots of this kind of confusion. And when I realized like, whoa, like, there's like something going on here, and the something that's going on here is me, then I was able to be like, okay, well, let's look at this. Like, this is something that I'm interested and wanting to shift this pattern. So common patterns in relationship. And as I go through these, I'll invite you to kind of just like think about what your patterns have been or what your patterns are. And these patterns can show up as like a type of partner, or like certain patterns in relationship, like high conflict or maybe no conflict at all, like avoidance of conflict, or can show up as a pattern of how you feel, right? So never feeling good enough or feeling like you or your emotions are too much, the anxious avoidant dance, chasing unavailable partners who don't want to be in a committed relationship, repetitive cheating or being cheated on, going from toxic, like high conflict, relationship to like the nice guy, like overly safe. It's almost like boring, right? You switch back and forth between those two. Holding back your truth or self-expression to avoid conflicts, people pleasing, putting other people's needs before your own, losing yourself in a relationship, like focusing almost all of your attention on that person, wondering what they're doing, what they're thinking, just so much outward focus on that person. Like what do they like, and what do they not like, and like how can I be better, and all that, right? Or not showing certain emotions, vulnerabilities, or insecurities, like not crying, in fear of appearing weak, crazy, overly emotional, or too sensitive. Um, so this exercise, in naming unconscious patterns, is looking at that, like we want to be curious about, like, where did that pattern come from? What is that pattern all about? And that pattern comes from two main things. It comes from, one, your strategies for getting love and attention as a child. And so answering this first question, if you want to journal on it, um, who or what ways of being did you need to um, to get acceptance or love from your parents? Like, what did you learn? Who did you think you needed to be for them to love you, right? Like, was it like, you needed to, kids should be seen and not heard, like be quiet. Don't be angry or upset or loud. Did you think you needed to be super logical, or like really like intellectual, or really smart in some way? Did you need to like be a really high achiever in school? Did you need to like have a really good memory? Maybe you needed to be like hyper aware, of your parents. Like, I need to like really be tuned into them, and you know, not care so much about myself. And then two, so just your parents. So we're looking at like where these patterns, where your patterns of relationship come from, are literally watching your parents. So your parents' beliefs about love, relationships, men or women, watching your parents in their relationship, or whatever that looked like, right? Kids are like sponges. We kind of just like take in what we see, and then we think that that's the truth, right? So what you can journal on here is, what did you learn about relationships, marriage, or love from observing your parents? I recently was working with somebody who has been in a series of relationships where she was cheated on over and over and again, cheated on multiple times in the same relationship. And what she uncovered was that, like, she realized that when she was younger, her mom would always say, men are cheaters. They always are, there always will be. You can never trust men. And so this was this unconscious paradigm that she was operating from. And like, when she realized it, it was kind of this big aha for her. And it might sound obvious when I say it now, but for her, she was just like, what is wrong with me? Like, why do I keep having the same experience over and over again in relationship? Like, what is the deal? Like, maybe it's true. Like, men, like, she had very good evidence for the fact, like, that men really were all cheaters. But again, it was just coming from the subconscious belief system that was installed in her by mom as a protection mechanism. Look out, men are all cheaters, right? And like, why would mom say that? Like, why would mom do that? Well, she got that mom had been cheated on, and that was her way of protecting her daughter. It was kind of like, if you live in an area where there's like, I don't know, a bunch of landmines or something, wouldn't you tell your child, like, watch out for the landmines? Of course you would, right? And so for her mother was wounded in relationship, and then installed that in her daughter, and that's how she wound up with that pattern. And that first step of awareness is so key to see, like, why am I the way that I am? Like, why is this happening, right? Um, your pattern in love is not something that you've chosen intentionally. Your pattern in love was often something that was woven before you were even born. It's part of these patterns are stuff that we learned from our parents, and our parents learned from their parents, and so on and so on. So part 2 of this exercise when we're looking at patterns is if your relationship history or pattern in relationships is going to be made into a movie or a riveting novel, what would the title of it be? And so we want to bring a little bit of playfulness and humor in if you want to. You don't have to. But I find that when I can bring humor into some of my personal development work and healing work, it makes it a little less not as serious. And that bit of humor and levity can actually, that alone can cause shifts in the subconscious mind and how you're relating to yourself and these patterns. So a few examples of these titles might be like, oh, the girl who was never good enough to be chosen. The tragic love story of a girl who tried to turn lost boys into confident men, because she didn't feel good enough or whatever it was, right? Or the blood-chilling tales of being ghosted. The girl who feels confident in on her own, but then feels insecure and needy as soon as she starts dating someone, right? It's a really long title. But I want you to just think of what is your story here? What do you end up feeling over and over and over again? What have you been believing about yourself or about love? What do you keep feeling confused about? So as you come up with your title, and this can even be like the story of your life, because that can help us get a little bit of insight into our patterns in love as well. Like, what stories are you living from and by? If you look at one that I came up with recently with a client, um, uh, it was something about overachieving, the girl who put all her personal needs aside to be the best at everything. Sneezing. Excuse me. Um, what are these themes of your life? The one who takes care of everyone except herself. Um, for me, a pattern of mine was I was so afraid to cry. I will never forget being on a coaching call with one of my coaches, and we were working through some really difficult shit. I was, and I didn't cry. I held back tears, fiercely held back tears for the first 10 sessions. And then finally on session 11, and it was a guy too. It was a guy coach. So crying, looking weak or insecure or what, that was a big no-no for me. And he called me out on it. He was like, Erica, why aren't you willing to cry? What's going on with that? And I had never had anyone, especially a guy, call me out for my fear of vulnerability and sensitivity and being insecure. And it was one of the most like this is the beauty about coaching, is these shifts can happen so fast. We think that it's going to be really hard or take so long or blah, 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 blah. But that person said one thing on that call and it broke my heart wide open. And the fact that it was a male, it was what he said to me next was conscious, emotionally mature men want to see this side of you. This is attractive. This is hot. This would make somebody, again, somebody who is okay with their own emotions, therefore okay with yours, will make that man want to lean into you. And I was just like, holy shit, it resonated so true in my body, even though I was so afraid of it. And I would say that that moment is like set off this whole ripple effect trajectory of me shifting in how I showed up in relationship. And that ability for me to show my vulnerability, my insecurity in my current relationship is something that over and over again, my partner, whenever I like open up and break my heart wide open and my tears are coming down my face, my partner is like, I feel so close to you. Like, thank you for letting me see you like this. And he just holds me and rocks me, and like my inner child heals. And it's just like the most magical, amazing thing. Okay. So, the question is, as you're thinking about like the patterns of your life, your relationship patterns, like your stories, like how do you feel when you look at like what your pattern is, when you write out that movie title, which can be dramatic and kind of silly, but like what emotions does it bring up in you? What thoughts? Any ahas? And you can, feel free to share in the chat, or if you're not attending this live, DM me and like let me know what has come up for you, like what insight you have, or maybe there's like anger. You're like, what the fuck? This has been going on for far too long. Or maybe you're like, oof, that feels like a dagger to the heart. Like this hurts, and I know I've been doing this, but I don't know how to get out of it. Just tune into your body and to your system. And really, by redefining our relationship patterns, what we're doing is we're shedding the strategies we learned that we needed to protect ourselves from rejection, hurt, or pain when we were younger. The thing to get is with this relationship pattern is like, because it's an old pattern and it's so familiar, it's what you know. And the reason why we keep repeating it over and over again is because it's familiar. And familiarity means safety to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where this pattern has been living and operating from. And we all have this core human need of certainty and safety. And so even though you might look at this and be like, I don't want this. I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. This isn't interesting to me anymore. At a conscious level, you're like, I don't want this. But at a subconscious level, your mind is like, no, we know, at least we know what to expect with somebody who treats us like we're not good enough. At least we know what to expect. That can feel far safer than this unknown of opening up your heart, sharing your emotions, setting boundaries, whatever that may be. And so the goal here is to start showing your subconscious mind and nervous system that it is safe to be yourself. It is safe to be vulnerable. It is safe to have emotion. It is safe to have needs and ask for those needs to be met. Safe to have boundaries. So that's the idea. And so I've talked a little bit about this, but like another piece, like when we're looking at like, well, what has made the biggest difference for me, this realization that my subconscious mind and what I'm going to call my false love identity was running the show, was literally creating these same patterns over and over again. And I learned that if I wanted to create a new healthy reality when it came to my patterns in relationship and in my life, then I had to change my beliefs, my habits, my emotions, my ways of being, all at the subconscious level. So we are always creating from our subconscious identity, which is like this, our combination of beliefs, habits, and patterns. And if you're trying to make changes just by doing something different, it probably isn't going to work. It's kind of like putting lipstick on a pig. So this is why when I'm working with couples and they're like, we just want to communicate better. And I'm like, okay, great. Like I can definitely teach you some tools for communicating. And I can teach, like, you can look at like a script for like how you might communicate back and forth. But if you just start talking differently and you're not actually shifting how you're thinking and feeling and being, again, at that subconscious identity level, then it's not going to land right with however you're saying, whatever you're saying to your partner. And this is where it's like, it doesn't matter what you think you want in relationship or love. We can think we want something, but it's not going to really shift unless we shift at that identity level. And yeah, like I would say like the best way to get an idea of like what are your subconscious belief systems? Like what are you thinking and believing about yourself? The best way to know is by looking at your current reality, looking at your relationship, looking at your bank account, looking at who and what is in your life, like the results that you've created. It really, like, your external world is kind of like a looking glass to see what's within your mind. One of my mentors would always say, as within, so without. And what he meant by that is that whatever we're thinking and believing in here is literally projected out into our reality. So I think like another story that like really hit home with me was this was years ago, before, again, pre-Erica doing any personal development work, and I had just gotten out of like a really painful relationship, and I was sitting with a friend who was actually a therapist, and so she was seeing something that I wasn't seeing yet, which was my subconscious belief system about what I deserved in love. Like I kept dating these people that wouldn't really commit and just weren't great matches. And she looked me dead in the eye and she was like, "Do you think you deserve somebody who like really chooses you and wants to be with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Like instantly was like, "Yeah, duh." Um, but the way that she was looking at me made me realize, oh, is there something here that she sees that I don't see? And we didn't talk about it then because at that stage, I was way too afraid to be vulnerable and open up. That was not part of my identity to like show an open heart and be vulnerable about it. I was just like tough and like I've got it together. And, yeah, of course I deserve healthy love. But I knew when she asked me that what she was pointing to was I clearly didn't think that I deserved healthy love, to be with somebody who actually really like loves me. Um, and that again, like created this ripple effect in my life because I was like, oh, okay, there's something that I need to look at here within myself. So this next piece of that I want to share is I learned to let love in. And let me see. Oh yeah, okay, here's the rest of it. So I learned to let my own love in. And what I mean by that is as much as I said I wanted a loving, intimate, committed relationship, there were parts of me that were like, it says healthily, I meant to say deathly afraid of being seen. I became uh like, and so with that, like I was like I was hiding parts of myself that I thought weren't lovable, or that were shameful. And um, when I learned to let my own love in, like what I'm talking about is like offering love and acceptance and understanding to these parts of me that I had kind of pushed away and pushed down. And um, like realizing that like I was holding, deep levels of shame. Like I thought like I must be inherently flawed. Something must inherently be wrong with me. And if something's inherently wrong with me, then it would be against my best interest to like actually like let somebody in and fully see me, because then they'll see that I'm flawed and then they'll reject me, right? So I had this whole crazy like defense mechanism set up when it came to love and vulnerability and all that. And So what I did is I became emotionally available to myself. And how I did that was through something called parts work. And parts work has since become like this core component of my healing journey. And this is also the work that I um, do with so many of my clients. And so I want to share a little bit about um, um, parts work. So parts work is, I'll give you just kind of like high level concepts, so you can kind of get with me here on this. And really it's like we're looking at our psyche, and our psyche is fragmented into parts. This is how we have different types of different parts of our personality. Like sometimes I can feel really like happy-go-lucky and like optimistic and like everything's working out. And then sometimes I can get into like self-doubt and fear and anxiousness. I used to have a part of me that was really defensive in relationships. That part of me has since found a new job because it's no longer protecting me from shame. Um, so like I think the key thing to get here is that we are so hard on ourselves, and we nitpick and look at like this is a problem and that is a problem, and I'm not good enough here and I need to be better there, and like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that again. What the fuck is wrong with me? Um, and if we repeat patterns over and over again, then again, like we shame ourselves, we blame ourselves, we're so hard on ourselves. And um, the thing that like if you could just even take one thing away from this in understanding yourself, is that there are no bad parts. Like everything that you do makes sense. Even the stuff that you're like, why do I do that? It's not useful. I don't like it. Even that makes sense when you can look at yourself through this lens of a system of parts. And I'll give you a story from one of my clients, where she came to me and she was like, oh my God, like I'm so hypercritical of myself. I'm so judgmental about myself. My self-talk is off the wall negative. Like if I make one little mistake, I beat myself up. Like this sucks. Like I hate that inner critic. I want to get rid of it. And what we discovered through parts work is that she uh like she had a mom who kind of ingrained in her, never get angry and don't be too confident, otherwise no man will want you. Like just sit pretty, be quiet, don't have needs, don't think too highly of yourself, right? Don't be arrogant, right? um and definitely like don't get upset, don't be angry, right? And so what she was able to see is that like negative self-talk was serving a really good purpose. It was making sure that she never felt um um good enough. She never felt good enough to like be perceived as arrogant or too confident, overly confident, right? Or egotistical. um and then with the angry part, right, like and the self-blame, she's like, oh, like I'm always like like taking so personally. It's um uh like always blaming myself for stuff. And again, like that tendency, that behavior of taking things personally was set up perfectly, because if it was always her fault, if she was always the one to blame, then she would never get angry at somebody else. She might get angry at herself, but that would happen privately, right? Nobody would ever see her get angry. And again, this whole thing was wound up by this story of like mom saying, don't get angry, don't be too confident. No one will ever want you, right? Like that's what she learned at a very young age. And so that's just one example. And I share it again, like the takeaway here is that everything you do makes perfect sense and serves a purpose, even if now it's an outdated strategy. And so, like, for me personally, I think what I'll share is like my two biggest struggles like I guess like conscious symptoms and struggles were just like my pattern in relationships, like never feeling good enough, like never dating people who wanted to commit to me. And then the other part was the way that I drank. So I like learned to binge drink in college, like a lot of us do, but like that way of drinking served, and I didn't see it at the time, but for so many years, I was like, why do I keep doing this to myself? This is stupid. I'm stupid. Like, I was so hard on myself. And it was because I never had a guide or mentor to show me why I was doing that pattern over and over and over again. And I was working at the time with counselors and therapists who did not have an understanding of the subconscious mind. So what they would tell me is like, oh, just like stop drinking after 2 drinks and then you're good. Just like count your drinks, right? Like, so what they were doing is they were trying to make a change at the behavioral level, at the doing level, rather than at the subconscious who I was being level. And they were trying to make this change happen without healing all of the root reasons of why I was drinking that way in the first place, which is shame, insecurity, childhood trauma, like deep, like self-betrayal wounds, like all this underlying crap. And they were just like, oh, just don't drink. And it's like, no way, because I had developed in this lens of parts work, I developed this really strong part of me who knew how to self-soothe through alcohol, through drinking. Other people do it through eating or scrolling on their phones or whatever it may be. Um, Buying things, impulsive buying, like there's so many ways, gambling that we can self-soothe. Getting lost in work, right? Like a workaholic part of you might exist. Again, just avoiding you from feeling those difficult things, from seeing the root of what's really going on. And so, like, when I finally got that, oh, wow, like the part of me that drinks a lot of alcohol is actually has been protecting me, has been protecting these like younger parts of me that um, felt, yeah, like insecure and anxious and full of shame and self-doubt and all that shit. That's when I finally could start making a shift. Instead of trying to get rid of and banish and shame the part of me that drank too much, I actually welcomed her in. I got curious about her. I connected with her. I thanked her for the work that she was doing to protect me from all those really, really, really painful feelings. That's where the shift occurs, is through this self-compassion and realizing that everything you do makes sense. So if you've been being hard on yourself, like, why do we keep doing that? Or why am I like this? Or I really wish, I could stop worrying or stop feeling so anxious, or I really wish I could stop that habit. That habit serves a purpose. And until you approach it with compassion and love and curiosity, it's not going to shift. Until you heal what's causing the pattern, it's not going to go away, because your system is set up to like protect you in that way. Okay. Okay, another piece here is I learned to like, and again, I don't even care if this sounds cheesy, this is like the real deal. So I learned to follow my heart, trust myself, trust my decision making and my intuition. And this helped me create a life where I felt fulfilled, passionate, inspired, and alive. Like, I was feeling so lost and confused and dead in my life before doing personal development work, before like realizing, like coming home to myself and getting curious about all this stuff, right? And so, well, there's 2 things that like are notable that I want to share. One is um, I left my home and my friends, and I like kept having this like intuitive nudge to go to Sedona. This was, well, like 2 years ago now. And like for years, like this little book, this little like knocking at my door is like, just go to Sedona. And at the time, I didn't even really know what Sedona looked like. I thought it was just like flat desert. I had no idea how like beautiful it is with the red rocks and all the everything and the vortexes. Like, I didn't know, but my soul knew, my heart knew what was there. Like, and Sedona, of course, like if you know it, is like literally like a healing epicenter. It's like a spiritual epicenter. It's like literally my shit. But I wasn't on my healing journey at that point. And so when I first kind of getting these nudges, but eventually I had like left a relationship that was actually a really amazing, good relationship. There was nothing really that wrong with it, but like it just wasn't in alignment. It just wasn't quite it. And having the courage to leave that relationship too, like all of this was like me following my heart, following these nudges. Like it didn't logically make sense to even leave that relationship because again, it was pretty good. But again, like I was so connected to my intuition and like my inner knowing, and I just trusted that. And so soon after that is when I like left home and like rented a house and like drove myself to Sedona. And no joke, that is literally the next morning is when I met my now partner, my now boyfriend. I got up early because I was so excited. Like I arrived at night to Sedona. Um, and I like woke up really early, like excited to be there and to explore. And I remember stepping out my front door and like looking up at the big red rocks up at Thunder Mountain and being like, holy shit, where am I? This is incredible. And just was like, I was like literally in my like PJs from the night before, and I was just like walking around the neighborhood in this like big ridiculous like lifeguard sun hat, just like in awe. And then when I got back toward my house, I like realized there was this truck in the driveway, and I was like so confused because all the houses look kind of similar. And I was like, wait, is this my house? But why is this truck here? What's going on? And then out of the truck steps this 6'3", blue-eyed, like beautiful man with a beard. And I'm just like, okay, like, who are you? Hello. And he says, hi, I'm Langley. You must be Kate's friend, and gave me a big hug. And like, this is literally, my now partner. And it was just like this instant like buzz and connection and like, oh my God. And here I am in like my PJs and this like looking completely ridiculous in this like huge lifeguard hat. And it didn't matter, right? Like none of that mattered. And I had like spent so many years thinking like I need to look like this perfect, beautiful way to attract somebody. And like, here I am in my PJs, no makeup, my hair is a freaking mess. I got like literally, I don't know, just a rat's nest back there. And like, this is how I meet my partner. And magical, right? Like, so this intuitive nudge to go to Sedona then created this like ripple effect in my life that I am forever grateful for. And so then the other piece of like following my heart, like following my like soul's calling, not like the logical head stuff, was when I left my safe and really cush career as a graphic designer and digital marketer and launched this business working with all you beautiful people. And it literally like did not logically make sense to do that, but I cold turkeyed out of my high paying job and just went full blown into this world of figuring out how to be a coach, a healer, a relationship practitioner. It like I became just obsessed. It was so clear that like this is my dharma. This is what I'm here for. This is my shit. And that piece I will also share with you is part of I what I think what created that like magnetism for meeting Langley, for meeting like this person that like really does feel like my soulmate. And like we met originally in the driveway, right? And he ended up staying with us for a while. And like the second interaction was I had just gotten off a coaching call with a client, and I should probably have Langley film this one time. Like when I get off a coaching call with my clients, like I come out of the room high kicking. I'm like, like it's so like, oh my God, I'm so like honored to work with the people that work with me. I'm like so full of love for them. I love the work that I do. I'm blown away. I'm like in awe at some of not some of all of my clients who are like showing up week after week, like working on themselves, doing the hard stuff, like pausing, slowing down, connecting with themselves, shedding big crocodile tears. I mean, it's just like it just literally like enlivens my soul. My heart cracks wide open on every single coaching call. Like I'm so in love with the people that I get to work with. And so I'm like come out of the room like high kicking, so stoked, high on life. And Langley, my boyfriend, was there in the kitchen with my friend Kate. And like he's like witnessing me like so pumped about, work. And like later on, he told me, he was like, that moment when I saw it, I was like, I've never seen someone so passionate about work. Like, what the hell? Like, it just blew his mind that somebody could be that like enlivened by like the job that they do, right? And so that was something that he saw in me that drew him in. He was like, I want some of that. Like, wow, like, is it possible for me to be that excited about life, about work? Like, oh my God, right? Um, so I share that because I think it like points to that message that like you are responsible for your own happiness. Nobody can do that for you. And when you figure out what lights you up inside, when you follow your intuition, when you tune into your heart, into your body, to get on your path, whatever that looks like, that's hot. That's attractive, right? I think like Langley was like had been in these jobs where it's just like every day it's like, oh my God, fuck this. Like like I feel dead inside. Why am I doing this? Blah, right. And so what he desired was what I had created. And like that was something that lit him up and has now sparked this fire in him where he's like, I don't need to do this soul sucking tech job anymore. Like I'm going to follow my heart. Like it woke him up seeing that possibility. Um, so yes, that is all I'm going to share about that. Let me see if there's anything back here that I missed. Da, da, da. Okay, and the last thing that I'll share about like what made the difference for me, the biggest difference for me on this journey is I realized that we are wounded in relationship, and therefore the deepest level of healing can occur within relationship, right? Like that might look like working with a coach, a therapist, trusted friends, healing circles, and of course in a secure romantic partnership. And I just like I immersed myself in like healing communities, healing circles, working with different types of different modalities like parts work and rapid resolution therapy, somatic healing, breath work. Like I got connected with people who were a couple steps ahead of me, maybe a lot more, but who had regulated nervous systems so that I could come show up and work with them and literally co-regulate with them in sessions. And people who saw me for the truth of who I was, right? Like I had been believing I'm not good enough, my emotions are too much, I'm too sensitive, blah, 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 all this shit, right? And so being in relationship with like somebody who's healing, somebody who sees you for who you are, then they can just be your mirror. They just mirror back, this is who you are. This is who you are. This is who you are. And it's so powerful. It's like nothing else you've ever experienced before when you find those rock solid ride or die people in your life. And I was lucky enough to have, I call her like my soul mama or my second mom. But her name is Mother Mary, literally. And she was the one who was kind of like this guide and this mentor and this healer for me. Like her energy was just so grounding. It was like the mother that I never had. And her again, combined with groups of people, coaches, healers, therapists, mentors, like that is where my biggest shifts and transformation occurred. And now in partnership, like I've gotten to a space where like I can share with my boyfriend in a way where it's like literally parts of me are healing, because usually how it goes is I'll share something really vulnerable with him that I'm like so scared to share. Like this younger part of me is like, if I share this, you're going to reject me. You're not going to think I'm cool. You're going to think I'm too sensitive or insecure. And instead he leans in and he just holds me, and I just cry in his arms. And it's just, he literally just holds space for all this healing to occur. And it's like the most juicy shit you can ever imagine. So I share that because, again, like I just want you to know what's possible in relationship. And it's like, my boyfriend, he always makes fun of me because I'm always like, it's like the 4-minute mile, like everything. I'm like, it's like the 4-minute mile. And really it's like when our subconscious mind sees a new possibility manifest in the 3D world, we're like, oh shit, like oh, I guess that is possible. Oh, I could do it like that too. Cool. Like if you don't know about the 4-minute mile, it's like once somebody ran the mile in under 4 minutes or whatever it was, then so many people broke it. Like it had never been broken before. And then once somebody saw it was possible, all these people could do it, because the subconscious mind was like, oh wow, okay, cool. And um another piece to that is like another thing that helped me in my journey was I had an like there's this one couple that was like one of my best friends in college, still my best friend to this day. I'm gonna go meet her new baby next month. But I watched them in partnership, and I watched them just like being best friends with each other. Like I watched them making themselves like pee because they laugh so hard. Like I watched them nurturing each other. I watched them move through conflict. I just observed them, and I was like, whoa, like that's the kind of relationship that I want. And I had never seen that type of relationship before. I didn't know it existed. I didn't know it was possible until I saw it. So that's another thing, like another one of my intentions for sharing, some of what it's like in my relationship is because I had an example of what was possible, and I would like to be that for those that it serves, for those that it feels useful, just to like, so you can see like, okay, this is the kind of thing that I can create for myself. Woo! Okay, so there's so much that I could share, right? Like it's never 1, 2, 3 cookie cutter, summon your soulmate, snap your fingers, you know what I mean? And so like I'll share with you that when I was creating this class, like, oh my, I had a list of like 30 things that I was like, oh, I did this and I did that and that was useful. And oh, maybe I should tell them about this. And it's like all the stuff that I learned along my journey. And um, I I just chose a couple things because there's just so much, there's so much I could speak to. But those are the things that I felt were really key. And if you keep coming back, well, I will keep sharing more. Um, so I want to remind you that there is another day of this where it'll be a lot different, a lot less of me talking and slides. We're going to be doing something very experiential that'll be felt on a body level, because my intention is I actually want to create shifts at, like I said, that subconscious level. So as you're sitting here, just kind of taking in everything that I shared, I know that it was a lot. I just want to check and see, what resonated with you. And anything that that you're like, yeah, that one thing you said, that's sort of what what I'm taking away, or like, oh, that was interesting. I've never heard it in that way. Just reflecting on what resonated with you. And you can share in the chat if you want. Um, whatever, whatever comes to mind. Reflecting.
Hi, it's
Hello,
Karen.
Karen. What's going
Hi.
on?
Hi.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I work with you, and
Yes.
have been. So
Yes.
I'm still working on my stuff. So I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah.
But um I think
Amazing.
it's definitely figuring out how to break away from the day to day and all of the things that we do to avoid, like we were talking about yesterday,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Totally.
work and alcohol and
Hmm.
all the things.
Yes, totally. Like,
And we kind
yeah.
of talked about yesterday, like I have a fun story, but it didn't turn out so fun. So there was like that excitement like you had, but mine didn't
Yeah.
turn out in the best way as yours did.
Yeah.
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 So that's sometimes
Yeah.
a hard pill for me to swallow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, one thing that you're getting good at is that self-compassion piece is like, okay. I mean, I'm I'm understanding myself and why I came to be the way that I am in exploring, of course, relationship with mother and all the rest of it. I think all pretty much anyone who shows up to this masterclass uh, can think back into like what your childhood was like and realize, oh wow, yeah, okay, like it kind of makes sense why I am the way that I am because that's what I sort of learned to do from my parents. Um, so yeah, thank you for sharing that, Karen. Anything else you want to speak to or share?
I don't think so. I'm just still processing yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Oh my gosh. Yes, for
And then
anyone, yeah.
retrograde be retrograding at this point. It's
Yeah,
already starting. So
totally, totally, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, uh the slowing down, the like realizing when we're stuck in either fight, flight, fawn, or freeze response, like when our nervous system is just kind of like constantly in survival mode. And that is something that I like um uh yeah, realized like I was like always on the go. I was always distracted. Like I was the person that in at the end of yoga during Shavasana, I'd freaking get the hell up out of there. I'm not going to be sitting still with my feelings and emotions. No fucking way. And just constantly like distracting myself. And like, the first parts of my healing journey was like literally sitting and being with myself, slowing down enough to get present to what was going on within me. And when I did that, oh, the Niagara Falls kept falling. And there were so many tears and so much crying. And it almost felt like when I began my healing journey, like it almost felt like I was getting worse because I was crying so much and I wasn't used to expressing that type of emotion because I literally would bottle it up and like I said, like try to never ever cry. And yeah, I mean, it was exhausting. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but on the other side of all those tears and all that processing of emotion that's been stuck in the body for so many years is peace, is more joy, and is also emotional tolerance, like the tolerance to feel uncomfortable emotions. Um, when we start doing it, it kind of feels like floodgates happen, but it's so, yeah, it's so beautiful once we do it. Um, so one thing that I'll share here is that, of course, new awareness creates new energy around solving an issue. Like as you soak in and take in what you got today, right, it kind of can create this momentum. And so I'm just going to encourage you to kind of ride that wave of this energy of like, okay, I'm curious, I'm interested. And I'll also share that there, of course, is a difference between logical understanding and embodied knowing, right? So you are like unlearning ways of being and thinking that have been there for decades. And you're also relearning and embodying brand new ways of operating when it comes to love and relationships. And let me know if this resonates with you. So like you might logically understand something that you're like worthy of healthy love or deserving of a fulfilling relationship. Um, you might logically, get this concept of like everyone's born enough, like we're born deserving, we're born worthy. But the problem has been that you don't actually feel it in your body like that it kind of can live a little bit as a concept, like it makes logical sense, um, but like you're not feeling it, you're not embodying it, you're not like seeing the results of it out in your life or in your relationships, right? You know what I'm talking about? This is like the I don't know, the curse of me being like such a like nerdy student, like obsessively learning and learning and learning, like reading books and listening to podcasts. And like I would understand all this stuff about myself and why I was doing it, but I wasn't actually slowing down to embody it. My body wasn't feeling the understanding, the informational understanding, right? Um, so um yeah, it's like I want you to think about it like this, like that understanding can live as this like you can imagine as like this pink dye hanging out in your brain. And it's like all this information. You're like, oh yeah, I know about that, and I know about that, and I know about that. Cool, cool, cool. Yep, I know I'm worthy. Whatever it is, like my emotions are safe to share. You might know it. But like when you actually like work one-on-one with me, what we're doing is we're like flushing that beautiful pink dye of the logical understanding. We're flushing it down into the body, into the heart, so that that heart lights up with that beautiful pink dye. Your system, your core, your whole chakra system, every cell of your being starts to light up with that pink dye. Your body starts to literally like move in new ways. You're not just knowing, you got it logically, but it's like the subconscious levels, which is the body, gets that you are safe. That is what we're up to. And so when we do that, it's like, again, like every cell of your being, of your body, like starts to feel safe to express emotion, starts to feel worthy and secure, um, starts to feel that peace, like it's okay to slow down. It's okay to be here in the body. You feel that wholeness, that completeness, that oneness within yourself. And so that is the difference between understanding and embodied knowing. And from there, it's like so much becomes possible. Really, anything becomes possible when you move these like concepts down into like this way of life, this new identity. And it's when it comes to relationships too, it really like this might live as a concept of like, oh, I'm responsible for my own happiness. I'm not going to rely on them to be this way or that way to make me happy. Um, but we still like find ourselves operating from ego, from control, from it has to be this way or it has to be that way. We're not really truly operating from love, from just that true oneness, that true love in relationships a lot of time. And so when again, like when it becomes this embodied knowing that, oh, like I don't need anyone to complete me. I don't actually need them to change for me to feel happy. I can learn to meet my own needs. And sure, I can ask my partner to help me do that. What it does is it takes all this pressure off of the relationship that had been there. It takes all this pressure off of your partner to perform so that you can feel a certain way. And from there, it's like you can create, it's like this freedom opens up, right? So you can actually enjoy the relationship and create magic together. So understanding awareness and informational education does not always create permanent and lasting transformational change. Like, I don't know if you've ever read a book. Like, we listen to so many books or podcasts, like watch 1,000 TikToks or reels or whatever. And in the moment, the information is great. You're like, oh my God, I'm totally gonna do that. That makes so much sense. But then like 2 weeks later, you get triggered by something and it all goes out the window. And you're just like back in the old pattern, the old reactivity. Um, or, how many like of you understand that people pleasing and throwing your needs to the wayside is not something you want to do, but then you still find yourself doing it anyway. Or you know what your boundaries are, but you don't uphold them. Like you let others cross them, even though like, wait, this is my boundary and I know you're crossing it, but then we're afraid to communicate it, right? Or, I'm sure you've all been in a relationship where you knew it wasn't right for you. Like you had that logical awareness, you had the data, the facts were there. But even with the data, you stayed longer than you should, or you tolerated less than you wanted from a partner. So it's this, like, again, like understanding is like this fragile knowledge. And so that's why it's so key to have accountability, to have somebody who can help you, guide you, create that shift at the subconscious level, right? Like, this is why before doing this work, like I knew I wanted like high quality partnership. I knew I wanted somebody who would commit to me and who was emotionally available and all that. But like under the hood, under the surface, like I wasn't embodying this way of being, embodying this like I am enoughness, I'm worthy of love, it's safe to communicate my feelings, whatever that may be, right? So the logical understanding was there, but it wasn't until I did the deeper work that things actually changed. And so what actually creates lasting, natural, and transformational change? Well, this first part, is this identity piece, right? So like uncovering your false love identity and intentionally creating your true love identity, like finding all the things that you've been thinking and believing about love, about relationships, about men, about women, whoever it is that you're dating, all the shit that doesn't work for you, and then intentionally becoming the one, becoming that person who, like knows how to self-soothe, knows how to communicate, even when it's about the hard stuff. Turning old relationship patterns into new intentional relationship patterns. Which we talked about earlier, reinforcement of your new ways of being and thinking that will allow you to attract and keep the kind of conscious, loving partnership that you love and deserve, right? So it's like, again, we might listen to a podcast or listen to a masterclass like this, and we get this like fragile understanding of what it's all about, but it's like that accountability and reinforcement that is required for actual lasting change. Clearing limiting beliefs that you've been holding about yourself, all of that, right? Like finding the blind spots. Somebody, like, we can't, of course, see our own blind spots. Otherwise, if we would do something about it. But like having somebody who can shed light on what you're not seeing or maybe what you're not getting and guide you toward, creating that subconscious shift that you want. Learning to trust yourself and your decision making. Right? Like learning the difference between fear and intuition by connecting with your body. Like this is all the stuff that I find is helpful. It actually, creates change. And I've been thinking about, like, as I develop this class, like I've been thinking about, like, what is the highest level of support I can offer people who really want to get this and really want to get out of these old patterns. For people who are tired of the same cycles, the same set of painful emotions, the same set of negative beliefs about themselves, and want to not only have this fragile, understanding from this class, but want me to guide them through this healing and transformational growth process, week by week, session by session, over the next 4 months. And I invite you to imagine what it would be like for you to have me in your life. And some of you who are here, you already know what it's like to have me in your life. You've been working with me for some time, right? But for those of you who haven't worked with me, and you're interested in, like, what I'm sharing here today, what would it be like to have me there to support you, to guide you, to help you course correct, to hear you and validate your experiences, your emotions, to understand what it is that you're going through, to hold a super safe, non-judgmental space where you can literally show up however you are, completely frazzled in the deepest, darkest hole, like can't stop crying, in the middle of a panic attack, whatever is going on for you, in a fit of rage because your partner said, whatever it is. And I will literally just be this container for you to express into, right? Um, so thinking about, like, wow, like, what would it be like to have somebody who would help me think differently about myself, to help you create healthy, loving, self-awareness, all these things that we talked about today, right? To be like, I want to help you get to the other side of those patterns, those insecurities, the fear of rejection, the lack of self-acceptance, moving past and through anxiety, people pleasing, taking things personally, shame, low self-worth, so that you can attract and keep healthy love and partnership in your life. And so that is my invitation to you. And I work with my clients for 4 months at a time, because that is really just the beginning of this healing journey of undoing these old patterns of thinking and relating. And if you think about it, you've had like a lifetime of feeling and acting in the way that you're currently being. And so 4 months is just a blip in time when it comes to rewiring and repatterning and stepping into a new identity of somebody who has mastered the art of relating. So working one-on-one with me moves you out of this fragile knowledge and understanding and into that empowered, embodied, transformational action. So really, it's like you can get like on the court in your own life and kind of test out what you've been learning and these new ways of being, these new ways of acting, right? And so you're here now, right? And feeling good, and you're like, I've got this awareness. But think about, like, maybe in 2 weeks' time, you have this moment of trigger, or some fearful or anxious thoughts come up, and you kind of like start spiraling on something. Or if you're in relationship, something your partner does just fucking knocks you off your socks, and you're just like, oh my God, like, oh, what do I do about this, right? Um, can you imagine what it would be like to contact me in that moment for support, and where I can hear what's going on, I can talk you off that ledge and help regulate you and your emotions back down into a state of calm. And we can figure out a solution to, like, whatever needs to be done for you to move forward. So whatever that thing is that triggered you or is bothering you or is so painful for you to be, thinking about, that we move you out of that. We move you out of the pain, the fear, the anxiety, the hurts, the resentment, and into clarity, right? When we can get your mind clear and your body calm, then we can come up with some creative solutions, right? It's so normal that we just like, we get triggered and then our mind goes like on this little literal vicious cycle spiral of death into a pit of anger, anxiety, frustration, you name it, right? You've definitely been there. I know it. We all have, right? So think about what it would be like for the next 4 months to know that whatever comes up in your love life, work, relationships, dating, that you have me there, right there with you, problem solving, supporting you, guiding you, showing you what to do and how to navigate difficult situations or conversations, how to move forward, right, into like creating this life that you want, right? How to move out of trigger and back into peace and ease and flow and lightness. And so, what would it be like for you to get out of this kind of like fight or flight survival mode and spend more time actually connected to your body, actually home here, like this system is online, right? More time in a state of like happiness, like actually like enjoyment of your life. Um, Knowing that when you work with me, I've got your back no matter what shows up, can move you through it, can move you through it together. Some of you already know that you really want this level of support, that you want to get ahead of this, you want to get this solved, you want to apply these things that I shared today at the deepest level and embody this new love identity, this new way of being, so that it literally like maps at a cellular level and it just becomes who you are. Somebody who is confident, somebody who is secure and grounded, at ease, at peace in themselves and in their relationship. And knowing that you're not in that constant autopilot cycle, repeating the same dynamics like week after week, year after year, that have been so painful and frustrating. Like, I don't want you to waste any more time dating people who aren't a good match for you, staying in a relationship that maybe isn't the thing, or if you're in like a beautiful partnership, like I don't want you wasting time like in trigger, in fight mode with this person that you love. I don't want you spending any more time in anxiety or worry or shame or like obsessive overthinking, feeling confused or hurt, doubting yourself, blaming yourself, like that, like inner critic just chatting away, having its way with you, right? Like, I don't want you thinking that you or your emotions are too much or feeling like you just don't measure up. I don't want you feeling that you're not good enough or attractive enough or skinny enough or smart enough for the person that you desire, for the type of relationship that you want, or just for yourself, for your own sake of you. I want you to not just understand that it's possible for you to have rock solid, connected, passionate, fulfilling, loving, committed relationship, but I want you to actually feel it in your body. I want it to be a felt sense, an inner knowing. And I want you flowing through life in a way that like makes you like feel radiant and alive and like that you really truly deeply like feel this like I am enough, I am lovable, I am whole and complete. I don't need a partner to feel how I want to feel. I might desire a partner and that's amazing and beautiful, but like I've got me. I'm so deeply connected to me. My life, I've created it in a way where it meets so many of my needs already. And then like a partner, an amazing partner is like a cherry on top to this already like beautiful scene, this already beautiful sundae. And then you like put a cherry on top and it's like ding, or a strawberry if you're not a cherry person, right? Because like I want you to know that this deep level of healing and expansion can occur for you just like it has for me and the clients that I've had the honor to work with, right? Like, I want you to be able to create magic in your life, like feel like you're not a victim of your circumstances or your patterns or your parts, right? But like, I want you to feel empowered, like you have a say in this and really know how to create those shifts for yourself. And so that is my invitation to you. Um, and the way that you accept my invitation and start the process of working with me is you will schedule a free consultation call with me. The consultation call is completely complimentary. It's 1 hour of you having my undivided attention, my highest level of focus and energy, specifically on you, what your problems have been, how you're going to solve them, and also what you desire at a deep soul level. All this call is literally designed to set up for you to have a breakthrough, to see like, wow, I didn't really see that was going on for me, but I see that clearly and now I see the steps forward. Like, I want you to know what it takes for you to become the one for yourself, like I talked about earlier, which will turn basically like will turn that sort of magnet, that aliveness, that magnetism on, so that, yeah, like whether again, like in relationship or you're trying to attract somebody, like we want you magnetic and alive and like thriving and like full of love and self-acceptance for no matter what state you are in. This isn't all about like you just being happy and like everything is all good all the time. No, it's like you riding this wave of what it is to be human in this very human experience, which can include these like amazing, passionate, like fulfilling, and then like deeply depressed and anxious. But it's like that you can like love and accept yourself through the ups and downs. That's what creates the magnetism. That's what's attractive. That's what's like, ooh, wow, like I want what she's having. Um, so if you attended this live, you will find an email in your inbox with a special invitation to private coaching with me. And if you're not here live, if you're watching the replay, you can go ahead and find me on social media. And find the link to book a free consultation call with me. The link is in my bio. You'll click that link. You'll see a button at the top that says curious about working with me. You'll click there. You'll just find a time that we can meet. You can also email me. Oh, my handle, by the way, too, if you don't follow me, is at the Wright Erica. It's my last name, then my first name. So it's at TheWrightErica. That's where you'll be able to find the link to book the call with me. Or you can email me. It's Erica at thewrighterica.com, Erica with a C. And so, yeah, just so you know what it looks like to work with me is we will meet weekly for 4 months. It's 16 sessions. They are 60 minutes each, and you have the option to record them. And so if you thought, you know, what we covered today was helpful, like, again, just imagine what it would be like to have your own private call with me every single week. Like, no matter what happens that week, no matter what is going on, no matter what state you get to show up on that call and we get stuff solved. We get stuff cleared up. My clients get so much out of these calls. It's so amazing to like hear feedback from so many of them and to like witness them literally like shedding away their conditioning, these false beliefs they've had about themselves, like getting out of anxiety and fear and doubt. And so in addition, as a private client, you get access to me between sessions. And what that means is, let's say that we have a session next Monday, and then something happens with somebody you're dating, or just life hits you the wrong way, or your partner said something that just threw you off the edge, and you're like, how do I navigate this? So you can message me on an app called Voxer. So that means you don't have to wait a whole week to get answers or support or process what happened so that you can feel better. You can message me and I will coach you through it on Voxer in between. It's kind of like a walkie-talkie or like a text message app. And so like if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling triggered, if you're like, what the heck do I do? You want some clarity on something, you just message me there. And the clients of mine who are, dating or in relationships, like use this all the time when conflict or anxious feelings come up. They're like, Erica, like, what do I do? Like, give me some words of wisdom, or how do I commute? What can I do to communicate this better? Whatever it may be, right? Like, um, it's like I just want you to know, like, you have, like, when you work with me, you've got like my highest level of support at all levels. And it really is designed to like keep you out of the mind drama too, right? Because we might have a session, you might leave feeling great, and then guess what? Your little like chatterbox ego or inner critic kicks in the next day, and it's all about reinforcement, right? Like me being there to like remind you who you are and how to move out of your triggers, right? Like out of those troubling emotional reactions or responses, or like guiding you into feeling safe to feel and just process the emotion right then and there, right? Because so much of the time we can like run away, try to get out of the emotion. And sometimes, depending on what's coming through, I want you to feel sturdy and strong and grounded and safe enough to just like literally, I came up with this term recently, stop, drop, and regulate. Like when we're little, we get taught if there's a fire, like stop, drop, and roll. But stop, drop, and regulate. Like, and what I mean by that is that like sometimes we get activated and then we like distract or move away from whatever it is, or we try to like conceptualize the feeling or intellectualize or pathologize. Wow, why am I feeling it? And instead, like it's literally just come into your body, notice the sensations, allow them to be there, and then they pass, just like weather does. Like emotions, like one single emotion, I don't think lasts longer than like 10 to 15 seconds in the body. Like sure, another one could be created and then created and then created, but they can really pass through faster than you think. Emotions don't need to be scary anymore. Um, so yeah, like my intention for all of this too is I want to keep you out of like this the spiraling, the downward spiral of like shame or insecurity or doubt or panic. Um, how much time have you spent like in those downward emotional spirals? Like so much time. Like I want to give you hundreds of hours of your precious time back. Um, I know that you've probably spent a ton of time um, feeling like shit. You've spent a ton of time like being in conflict in relationship. You've spent a ton of time being with somebody who like actually isn't right for you. You've spent a ton of time wondering like, what's wrong with me and how do I fix myself? Like all this stuff, right? Like I want to give you your time back. My intention is that I want you to spend more time in a state of peace and joy and truth. I want you to spend more time connected to yourself, connected to source, connected to nature, connected to the people that you love, connected to an amazing partner. Like that is where I want you, is in connection. That's why I've been calling myself a human connection specialist, because I realize like that is literally what I'm doing, is like I'm connecting you to yourself so that you can then connect to others in a way that's healthy and fulfilling and enlivening and deepening and healing, right? Um, so that is my invitation to you again. That is what this is about, is moving you out of your survival strategies, out of your conditioning, out of the reactivity, out of the trigger, out of the dysfunction, out of the fighting and bickering, and into this beautiful new world, this new way of relating to yourself and others, where you can be in like high quality soulmate relationships that feel connected and deep and beautiful, and spend more time like feeling seen and heard and validated and loved and empathized with inside of your relationship. I want you to feel more harmony and fulfillment and connection and wholeness. And ultimately, I want to take you to a higher love. At the beginning of this masterclass, you may have heard me playing a song, and it is Whitney Houston, meshed up with Kygo, of course, Higher Love. And when I started this journey of working as a relationship coach, years ago, like I would listen to that song as I was working out, and I was just like, oh my God, like this is what I'm doing. Like I'm like, this is my intention. This is what I want. Like raising really like your vibration, therefore the world's vibration, to this like higher level of love, because it feels so much better. And like love is that like oneness again that I was talking about, that like our conscious or like our unconscious is always seeking that feeling of oneness, of love. And so that is what I'm offering to you right now. This is all about you learning to communicate your needs and feelings from a grounded place. This is about you learning to meet your needs. And so like all of this, all of what I'm talking about is something that I would love to work with you on in private one-on-one coaching. That's like really where the juice happens. That's where the needle moves. And so if you're even a little tiny bit curious, I encourage you to schedule a call. And again, like I'll send out an email so you can get a link there, but you can find me on TikTok or Instagram at the Wright Erica, and just click the link in my bio and find a time there to work with you. And on that one-on-one consultation call, I will customize a plan and personalize steps for you to move forward in whatever situation you are in, like whatever is unique to you. That's why like I love one-on-one coaching, is because yeah, we all got this different stuff going on, and like I want to customize it to exactly what you need. And then if you want to work together, great. If you don't, then at least we've gotten to meet each other face to face on a call. And you have seen what's possible for you and your love life when we work together one-on-one. And I'll let you know that, sometimes people like, they get excited, they like feel excited about working with me, and they're like, ooh, like, I do like what she's saying. That, I mean, this does sound like it could be useful. But then they don't even book a call. They don't even book a consultation call, because they've already cut themselves off from possibility of a different future. I mean, how often do you do that? Like you have a nudge or like a desire to explore something or try something, but then you just shut it down. You shut down your intuition, you shut down your heart's desire. We do this all the time. And this is one of those patterns that you may have been in. This may be part of the problem. Cutting yourself off from desire, from interests, from your own needs. We cut ourselves off from allowing ourselves to feel peace and pleasure. So what I'm going to invite you to do is just pause a moment and tune into yourself. You can even let your eyes close if you want. And just navigating, connecting with yourself for a moment. And is there a part of you who's like, she is speaking my language. Like, I would like to learn more. I want this for myself. God, it would be so nice to have somebody to talk to about what's been circling in my mind. Somebody to like, who knows the path. So I, don't have to keep throwing spaghetti at the wall. Is there a part of you that's like, I want to go deeper. I want to create significant change in how I feel, in how I relate to myself, in my patterns of relationships? Is there that kind of like little bit of like sparkling ember that's kind of like, yeah, like I feel like there is something more for me and this could be helpful. And so since just get present to that. And since part of the work that I do with people is creating clarity, it's a huge part of the work is clarity, right? Clarity is freedom. crystal clear clarity for yourself in your life so that you don't have to sit around wondering or debating whether or not something or someone is right for you. What I want to offer you is clarity right now. So you can leave, like, really, it's so that you can, I want you to leave this class feeling empowered and knowing what your next step is. Clarity feels so safe and relieving in the body. So how you're going to get clarity right now on what your next step is I'm going to ask a question and your job is to answer. Just let the first answer that comes to mind come through. You don't even need to think, you just answer. And let it come from your heart. Let it come from that desire, from that little ember. So if you're ready, you can begin by closing your eyes and just taking a deep breath in and deep breath out. Just connecting to yourself, being present to your body, connecting to your heart, because that's where your truth is going to come from. It's not going to come from the thinky ego part of the mind. It's going to come from your body. Your body gives you very clear yeses and nos. And so you can kind of use this exercise as your first exercise in like connecting with your body and your intuition, your heart. So here we go. Answer either yes or no. Would it be helpful for you to hop on a private call with me? What did your heart answer? Notice what came through. And notice also if there was any part of you that felt any fear, or was it just a clear yes, or was it just a clear no? Because if the answer is yes, then yay, you have clarity on your next step. And if the answer is no, then awesome. You also have clarity. That's beautiful. This is designed to kind of like, I don't want you sitting on a fence of like, I don't know, I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. Like getting clear on your yeses and your nos is such a powerful move in your life, in relationship, no matter what. And so now you can just move forward with your next step. So if you answered yes, just as an exploration, see what it feels like to answer your heart's desire. Like that little inkling of like, oh my God, like, whoa, yeah, it would be helpful to hop on a consultation call with Erica. You don't have to take the next step, by the way, if you got the clarity, but like just as an exploration, it'd be kind of cool. Like see what it feels like to say yes to your heart's desire. Just by booking the consultation call will create a shift in how you think and how you relate to yourself because you're actually taking aligned action with your heart's desire, with your intuition, with your body wisdom, right? That's new. So much of the time we get stuck in our head and logical our way through things. And so it's just an opportunity, right? And literally just booking the call can be a breakthrough and a step toward an empowered you. And showing up to the call for yourself in the name of what you truly desire, that is an act of self-love. It truly is. Booking this call for yourself because you think that it might be even like a little tiny bit helpful, even that is going to shift who you're being, how you're thinking, how you're feeling. It's literally going to change your vibration because it's aligned action that communicates to yourself and to the universe that I am worthy of being supported. I am worthy of having that level of one-on-one support. I can have that? Oh my God, that's such a shift. You are worthy of having your needs met. You are worthy of peace and pleasure. You are worthy of being in a healthy, connected, deeply fulfilling, conscious relationship. And my promise to you is that you will walk away from your consultation call feeling completely clear on how to move forward in your life. This call is really just a safe space for you to let me understand what you are dealing with and let me share how I can help you in your specific situation. And then we'll consider working together. let's consider how this could be helpful. If you tell yourself no to even scheduling the consultation call, then you don't even really know exactly what you're saying no to, right? Like you've gotten a small dose here, but in that hour, we're going to go so much deeper, really painting that picture of like what you want, what you desire, how to get there, right? So that is the invitation. Again, it's super easy to book the call. You can find me on Instagram at the right Erica, or TikTok at the right Erica. Email me, Erica at the right Erica. We can set it up there. But it's really easy just to find me. And I so look forward to connecting with you. I so look forward to meeting you. You can, any questions, bring to that call, bring your soul's desire to that call. You can you can show up to that call also like, I don't even know, Erica. I don't know anything. Like, I'm not even sure. I just felt this call to connect with you and talk with you. And so I'm just answering, like I said, my heart's desire. I'm answering that little intuitive nudge. I'm not really sure if I want this or I need this, but like, I just want to talk. Even if that's you, show up to the call. Like, I love talking. As you can tell, I've been talking for so many hours on this. So that's the invitation. I'd love to connect. I so look forward to meeting you. And also reminder that day 2 of the Summon Your Soulmate series will be happening next week. And that will be, again, very different from today. We're going to be doing something experiential. I wanted to give you an experience of kind of like sort of like what my one-on-one clients get in sessions, because I want you to get a taste of what that's like, so you can see if it's works for you and if it's in alignment with you. So thank you for being here. You are such a beautiful, beautiful soul. It's been a pleasure to serve you, to share this information with you. And I just look forward to connecting with you in whatever way that may be, if it's on a consultation call, if it's in a session, on social media. I will see you then, and I look forward to seeing you all in part 2. Okay, have a beautiful day, and bring this love, this higher vibration that you got from today out with you into the world. And I so look forward to connecting with you soon. All right, have a beautiful day.